Okay, if you could open up chapter 10 on customer relationship management, open that PowerPoint up, and we're going to start with slide 4. So it says in here in blue at the top, finding a new customer costs 5 times as much as keeping an old customer. Very true. It's much easier. If you think about if you go to a restaurant, you already know what the restaurant's like, you already know what the food is like, the environment, the staff, you might go there again. But if you liked it, if there is a new restaurant that opens, you have no idea what it's going to be like. It's going to be harder for you to be convinced to go and try that new thing than it is for you to go back somewhere that you're already sure about. Just like if you know a certain brand of clothing fits you and you always wear a size medium, not me, but someone always wears a size medium. If you know that, then it's easy for you to go back to that store again and again because you know the quality, you know the pricing, you know what to expect, you know the style, etc. And so that is that makes it very true that keeping a customer is much better and less expensive for a business than trying to find a new customer. So CRM, customer relationship management, is about figuring out what does your customer want from you and then making sure that you have products and services that make those customers happy with what you offer. So the CRM tools that we're going to talk about in this chapter talk about how to automate that information, how to automate that transaction. So think about the last time you were on Amazon, and Amazon might say to you, here's a book we think you would like. Because of the last 15 books that you bought, we know you're probably interested in murder mysteries, or you're probably interested in anime, or whatever you're interested in, and they can make a recommendation to you. So that is CRM, very, very sophisticated CRM. So it also talks about capturing information from your customers and figuring out what's important to them and what they're going to be wanting from you in the future. So if you'll go to chapter 5, we have some definitions. It's the infrastructure, not chapter 5, I'm sorry, slide 5. The infrastructure that enables the delineation of an increase in customer value and the correct means by which to motivate customers to remain loyal. So if you think about, let's go back to our restaurant example, if you have polite staff, if you have quick food coming out of the kitchen, if you have good communication about maybe your specials and people are friendly and etc., those things are motivating, that last line there, motivating your valuable customers to remain loyal, indeed to buy again. We want people to continue to come back. If you go to a restaurant and the food is delicious but the staff is rude, or the staff is lovely but the food isn't very good, or both of those things are fantastic but it's super expensive, or all those things are great, it's not expensive, the staff is lovely, the food is great, but it's too far away. So all those kinds of things are very important. So if you look at slide 6, the 7 deadly sins of CRM failure. So these are things that cause you not to have that repeat business from customers and to basically be an indication of poor customer relationship management. So if you look at just the technology, so if you say, I'm capturing how many of my customers come back, how many of them this is not their first visit to my restaurant, to my barbershop, to my whatever it is, my accounting firm. If you only concentrate on the technology of capturing the information, you're missing everything. You're not ever understanding why the numbers are what they are and what you could do to improve them. So number 2 is not figuring out that customer centric, not focusing on the customer, not understanding the concept of a customer's lifetime value. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. That's later in this chapter. Making sure that you have top management support is very important. If top management of your company does not think it's important, then you're not going to get the money that you need and you're not going to get the focus that you need. Not making sure, number 5, that your business processes are appropriate to continue to maintain customers, not understanding the challenges in integrating all the different places that data comes from, and then figuring out what it's going to take to make change happen and underestimating what that looks like. So if you go now to slide 7, this is the other side of that. This is what the positives are. So you need cultural change, you need project management, you need employees to be engaged, you need strategies that give you that ability to bridge a long-term relationship with your customer. You need to have information that you're gathering from a variety of sources, and then you're making sure that you're treating customers right and explaining to them, whether it's verbally, whether it's with a loyalty program. So think about how the airlines keep you coming back by giving you miles. They're not doing that to be nice. They're doing that because when you have a choice, they want you to choose their airline over another airline because you're accumulating those points, just like a hotel, just like a grocery store. If you go shop at Randall's, Randall's is accumulating points, or Kroger is accumulating points that you can use for gas, discounts on gas. That's why they're doing that. So if you go to slide 8, talking about segmenting customers. So segmenting customers is about making all the people that have a lot of things in common, grouping them so that I can communicate with them in a way that makes sense. So if I'm somebody like Amazon who sells household goods, groceries, books, music, all kinds of things, they want to communicate with that person who only buys books from them in a different way and about different items than the person who shops regularly for groceries there, buys paper towels and dish soap and things like that. So target marketing is not possible, that second bullet, unless you've segmented your customers. Otherwise, I'm sending a message to someone like, if I'm Amazon, or if I'm anyone, if I'm Macy's, it doesn't matter who you are. I don't want to send a message to me about baby clothes or diaper discounts because I don't have, the youngest child in my house is 12. I don't care about that. But if I don't have that segmented, I don't know. And that's why sometimes Amazon will ask you, is this a gift? And it will let you say, okay, well, so we're not going to count that as a normal thing. I bought baby clothes, but I bought them as a gift for someone. So don't market to me about baby clothes because I don't have a baby in my home and I don't want that information. And then relationship marketing or permission marketing, basically you see this everywhere. This is that whole ability to unsubscribe. This is the information that always comes when it asks you to send a text, and it'll say, if you want to opt out, here's how you do that. Y'all all know what that QR code is, that little square bit pixeled thing that you can scan and it'll take you directly to a website. And then this says Facebook, other sites on the web can create their own web pages that customers can visit, but it's by their choice. It's not like that page is going to come up on their Facebook feed just out of nowhere. All right, cross-selling. So cross-selling is something that Amazon is wonderful at, and I'll use Amazon a lot as an example because they're very sophisticated marketers. But if I know that Amazon can look at my purchasing history and say other people who bought this book, and this book also bought this book, and then I see that and I buy that book, that's cross-selling. I came there to buy book number 1. They said in the past you bought book A, B, and C. People who bought A, B, C, and book number 1 also liked book number 2. Why don't you try that? And so that's that. And then predicting customer behaviors is figuring out how to make that recommendation and figuring out over the past 12 months, Beth Kennedy has spent $75 a month with us. So we expect that she'll probably continue to spend somewhere between $60 and $90 with us every month going forward, which talks to us a little bit about that customer lifetime value. And I'll explain that to you in just a moment. So on slide 10, you can look at customer defection analysis. This is a huge, huge thing in the cell phone world. So if you are Sprint or if you're AT&T or Verizon or T-Mobile, the worst thing that happens to you is that somebody ports their number over to one of your competitive carriers. They call that churn. And churn basically means the person is continuing to buy it, but they're not buying it from you anymore. It's not that they decided, I don't want a cell phone any longer. It's that they said, I don't want to have this service with Verizon any longer. I'm going to switch to AT&T. That is called churn. So figuring out customer value determination, I'm going to show you that on maybe the next slide or the next slide. Making sure that customers stay loyal to your brand is very important. And one of the ways people do that is that third bullet, personalizing customer communications. So understanding how a customer goes onto your website, what they look at, all that's clickstream, or some people call that web tracking. You're looking at what are they clicking on? What are they trying to find out? You'll see a lot of times, was this helpful? And the reason they're asking, was this helpful, is if you didn't get what you were looking for and you just give up, that creates dissatisfaction. And so they're trying to make sure that whatever you went to find, you did find it. so that they're maintaining that you are happy with the service. So event-based marketing is another thing is to say it's Easter, it's Father's Day, it's Christmas time, it's Hanukkah, whatever it may be. We're going to send you something that says a lot of people are buying a gift on that day, so come and buy that gift from us. Buy a phone case if we're Verizon, something that they can do to get you to spend money with them based on a holiday or some other event. It's Super Bowl, whatever it may be. So this is a lot of math on slide 11, but let me just tell you what this is basically showing you. You would never need to calculate this manually because, again, this would be done by a system. But if I say that I get my hair cut every 6 weeks, and just for easy math, I pay $10 every time I get it done, then we can say that in a year, there are 52 weeks, and so I'm going to get somewhere between maybe 8 and 10, 8 and 9 haircuts every year. So I'm going to spend, just for this easy math, $80 to $90 a year. If I'm happy with the place I go and I'm 30 years old, my lifetime value is I'm probably going to need 40 more years of haircuts at $80 to $90 a year. That's my lifetime value. So what this explains to you is different margin businesses are getting different results on what that lifetime value is because how much profit they're making off of you is very important. So Salesforce automation is a big way that we help people that are selling in these customer-focused environments, how that we give them information. So these are on your test, what sales activity, sales territory, lead management, and knowledge management are. You can read those on slide 12. On slide 13, we talk about, this is on your exam as well, the 7 R's, having the right product, the right quantity, the right condition, the right price, the right time, the right customer, the right cost. So I'll tell you about a time I got a Amazon box and it had a container of Tide Pods in it and it looked like it had been run over. The Tide Pods had exploded all over everything in my box. So there were Triscuits in there, there was toilet paper, there were all kinds of just, non-perishable goods I got from Prime Pantry, but they were covered in this gloopy Tide Pod gel that was everywhere. So I got the right product, I got it in the right quantity, but I didn't get it in the right condition. It was in the right place at the right time for the right customer at the right cost, but it was not in the right condition. Got online with Amazon, they replaced it in 2 hours and it was taken care of. But those 7 R's are very important. You can look at this. This should make sense to you on chapter 4 or on slide 14. If it's before the transaction, it's what do you need to find out to make sure that you'll do business with that business, the actual transaction itself, and then afterward about warranty, returns, like when I had to do that with Amazon, etc. You all know what a call center is. I'll let you read this on slide 15. Slide 16, you've been exposed to this, I'm sure, in many ways from almost every company that you do business with. They're trying to measure your customer satisfaction. And then slides 17 and forward will show you how to create a CRM plan. You should know that. You're going to be asked about that on your exam. On slide 23, we're going to talk about customer data privacy. So there's a lot of information about you on a website if you make a purchase, your credit card, your address, perhaps your clothing size, or health problem if it's some kind of medication or things like that. All of that is very heavily governed, especially in Europe. It is in the United States as well, but very much more so in Europe, about how companies can use that information, and they must give you an opportunity to opt out of them using that information or selling it to anyone else. We have a social chapter here, and I think this is the only chapter that doesn't have anything green in it. And on slide 25 at the end, you can see cloud applications are becoming really the de facto way that people manage CRM. So that's the end of chapter 10, and you can take a look at your study guide, get it filled in so that you're prepared for the test.